So in today's video, I'm going to be doing an album ranking. This will be Ozzy Osbourne. I did one of these last year, but that was before Patient Number 9 came out, so it's time to update it. So I'm going to do this like I usually do. It's going to be a little different this time. It's worst to best. This is all my opinion. And I'm going to use the same scoring system I did with my recent Megadeth ranking. So the way I do it is I take every song, I give each song a score out of 1 to 10, and then I just like calculate the average, and that's how I got the score, and that's how I do my ranking. We have 12 albums. I'm not going to include that covers albums, and even if I did, it would probably come at the bottom. This one, I never even liked that one. But let me just jump right into it. So number 12, I have Ordinary Man from 2020. My score for this was a 7.3. And the reason why it is so low, it is those last two songs, It's a Raid with Post Malone and Take What You Want with Post Malone and Travis Scott. I think those were the ones that like brought the score down. But this does have some good stuff on it, like Ordinary Man with Elton John. I thought that was a really good ballad. That's like one of his best ballads. So that one I gave like a higher score. And then Straight to Hell is a good song. Under the Graveyard, those were the singles. Out of the other tracks, Scary Little Green Men was pretty good. I enjoyed that one. The rest were kind of okay, like Eat Me, Today's the End. And I think the thing with this album is that he doesn't really have a band. It's more like just a collection of a bunch of musicians. So we have Andrew Watt doing a lot of like guitars and keyboards and stuff, and you got Elton John, you got Post Malone, Travis Scott, Kelly Osbourne, Duff McKagan, Chad Smith, / Tom Morello. So you got a bunch of people. So this one is not a bad album, but it was just brought down by those two tracks at the end. So at number 11 is Scream. This one came out in 2010. My score for this was a 7.36. This one is not too bad. I don't think any of these albums are really bad. This one he has a band. So he has Gus G on guitars, Rob Blasco Nicholson on bass, Adam Wakeman on keyboards, and Tommy Chuletto's drums. Supposedly he's just only credited for drums. This one, I think they're playing like some like trying to go like some heavy music. It came out in 2010, so that was like the music that was around at the time, almost like a new metal direction. So I think the songs, Let Me Hear You Scream, that's like the most popular one. Then there's a Soul Sucker, that's a good heavy song. Digging Me Down, I like that one a lot. But then after that, you get Crucify, Fearless, Time. Those ones were just kind of like okay. And I think like those ones scored like a 7. So for that reason, this one is not very high. It's a 7.36. That's like only like a little above Ordinary Man. So that's number 11. At number 10, I have Down to Earth. This was released in 2001, and my score for this is a 7.45. It's a good album, actually. And he has a good lineup here. So it's Ozzy, Zakk Wylde on guitars, Robert Trujillo on bass. This is actually right before he joined Metallica. And Mike Bordin on drums. So Mike Bordin was from Faith No More. This one has some good stuff. It has a really good front half, and I think that's the reason why it's at this position, because it Gets Me Through, Facing Hell, Dreamer. It's kind of a cheesy ballad, but I actually like that song. Then No Way, Easy Way Out. And then after that, the songs are like not very memorable. With the exception being the song Junkie, track number 7. I think that's a really good one. But other than that, the songs are good, not great. So this is a decent album. So I have this one at number 10. At number 9, I have Black Rain. This one came out in 2007. My score for this is a 7.6. This one actually moved up a few spots from my last ranking. This one is pretty good. They do some different stuff. I feel like they do like a little kind of like some jazzy stuff at some points, some like funky stuff. So songs are pretty good. This one has a really good lineup as well. Ozzy, Zakk Wylde, Rob Blasco Nicholson, and Mike Bordin. A similar lineup to the Down to Earth album, with the difference being Robert Trujillo is no longer in the band and Rob Blasco Nicholson is on bass. Another one with like a really good front half. So Not Going Away, I really love that. Really great lyrics. Talking about how he just wants to keep going. I Don't Want to Stop. Another one that's a great single. Then Black Rain. Lay Your World on Me, and then The Almighty Dollar. Those were like the best songs. After that, it's kind of like, it's okay. Kind of takes a dip. After that, tracks like 6 through 10, but I like this one. I think it's like pretty good. This one actually grew on me a lot. At number 8, I have Patient number 9 from 2022. This is the new album. Definite improvement over Ordinary Man. My score for this was a 7.88. This is kind of similar to Ordinary Man, where he has like a big list of musicians: Zach Wilde, Jeff Beck, Tony Iommi, Mike McCready, Josh Homme, Dave Navarro, Robert Trujillo, and a bunch more. So, probably my favorite song might be Patient number 9, the first single, which I actually didn't like that much when it first came out, but that one grew on me a lot. But lots of good stuff here. I like Immortal. I like Parasite. The ones that were kind of like went down a little bit for me, like Degradation Rules. I think it might be the lyrical content that made me go bring it down a few points. But God Only Knows, that's a really good, underrated song, and it's just a really good album. I think it's a really good comeback album. So I have a full review of this, so I won't really talk too much more about this. So moving on. And at number 7, this is kind of a surprise for me. I thought this would end up higher, but No Rest for the Wicked from 1988. My score for this was a 7.9. And, I love this album. This is probably like the first Ozzy Osbourne album I bought when it first came out. And for that reason, it just has a lot of like nostalgia for me. Really great, lineup. Ozzy Osbourne on vocals, Zach Wilde on guitar, Bob Daisley on bass, Randy Castillo on drums, John Sinclair on keyboards. The first, 6 songs are like really good. Miracle Man, Devil's Daughter, Crazy Babies, Breaking All the Rules, Bloodbath in Paradise, Fire in the Sky. I love all those ones. I think it just got brought down a little bit in score with like Tattooed Dancer and Demon Alcohol and Hero. Even though those are good songs, that one kind of brought it down a little. Like these next few albums are like really close in their scores, so they're like almost interchangeable. Like numbers like 7 through 4 are like really close. So anyway, that's No Rest for the Wicked. Again, I love this album, but that's where it is. And albums 6, 5, and 4 all scored in 8.0. So I kind of like put them in the order, just personal preference kind of thing. So number 6 is Ozzmosis from 1995. This is a really good album. It kind of came out at a time when, like a lot of alternative music was being popular, and not a lot of metal, but a really great lineup. So Zach Wilde on guitar, Geezer Butler on bass, Dean Castronova on drums, Rick Wakeman on keyboards. So a really good lineup. The first song, Perry Mason, that's just like one of my favorites. That's a really good one. A deep cut I always like called Thunder Underground. That's a really great one. Ghost Behind My Eyes, that's a really cool ballad. See You on the Other Side, another cool ballad. And the rest of the songs are good. Actually, I like My Little Man. It's very heartfelt. I think it was about his son Jack, I believe. And, Denial, Old LA Tonight. Those are really good songs as well. So it's a solid album. But like I said, the ones after this were kind of all equal as far as numbers 5 and 4. At number 5, I have The Ultimate Sin from 1986. My score for this was an 8.0. I recently did a video on the Green Man's channel. You could find that in my community tab. I have it posted. We talked about this being like a dark horse album because it's one of those albums that a lot of fans might not like it. They went in more of a glam metal direction, but I think the songs were really good. So the most popular song, Shot in the Dark, is probably the one you know the most. But you got The Ultimate Sin. But there's some other good stuff here. Secret Loser, Thank God for the Bomb. A really good deep cut called Lightning Strikes. I really like the guitar riff on that one. And one of his best ballads called Killer of Giants. So that's just a really good one. So this is a good album. Pretty decent lineup. Jakey Lee on guitars, Phil Sussman on bass, Randy Castillo on drums. This is kind of one of those like underdog albums that we talked about in depth on the Green Man's channel, so you can look for that. 4 is Bark at the Moon from 1983. This is another one that scored an 8.0. This is a really good album. The first album with Jakey Lee. You got Bob Daisley on bass, Tommy Aldridge on drums, Don Airey on keyboards. I think these are some like really good songs, so that's why I put this one ahead of like the other two, even though they all scored the same. So Bark the Moon, that's just a classic song. You're No Different, just very melodic, rock and roll rebel, just a very like a fun song. Then you got Center of Eternity, which is really great. Kind of like the album might take a little dip with So Tired and Slow Down, but then comes back with Waiting for Darkness. This actually has like two editions. There's a European edition that has a song called track number 8 called Spiders, which is kind of like this really like creepy, haunting type of Ozzy song. And I probably think the European edition is actually better because I think Spiders is probably better than Waiting for Darkness. But again, that's my opinion. Again, a good album, and that's why I have it at number 4. Now, number 3, this one might be a surprise for you, but I have a Blizzard of Oz. Surprising because this was my number 1 in my other ranking, but it got knocked down 2 spots just because I did this whole different scoring system. I think it got brought down a little bit because Crazy Train, it's an iconic song, it's a really great metal song, but I felt it's like overplayed, so that's why I scored that one a little lower. But this one has one of Ozzy's best songs ever, and that would be Mr. Crowley. That is probably like one of the best songs, and definitely the best song on this album. But the rest of the songs are just really solid, and the great lineup. Randy Rhoads on guitars. So he's kind of, Randy Rhoads was coming off of a Quiet Riot, and on this album he was kind of given a little more freedom to express himself, playing more in like a classical or neoclassical style. So that's what really makes this album very special. And you got Bob Daisley on bass, Lee Kerslake on drums, Don Airey on keyboards. And there's some good stuff, even like that song D. It's less than a minute, but it's just classical guitar. I love that one. Suicide Solution, that one's a classic. I Don't Know, it's a classic. So it's a classic album. And this one, if I didn't say it before, it scored an 8.1. So that's just like a little bit above like the last 3. So again, these scores are going to be like really close. At number 2 is going to be another surprise for me. No More Tears from 1991. This one scored an 8.18, like just like a little bit over Blizzard of Oz, but it's a really good album. Like if you go song by song and you like rate them all, it just comes up very high because you got Mr. Tinker Train. That one's really good. Mama, I'm Coming Home, really great ballad. No More Tears, one of my favorite Ozzy songs. Hellraiser, that one he wrote with Lemmy Kilmister from Motorhead. Time After Time. So these are just a very solid album. That's why it came up very high. And really great lineup. So Zakk Wylde on guitars, Randy Castillo on drums, John Sinclair on keyboards, Bob Daisley on bass. And I think that this album is just very consistent all the way through. You got some heavier stuff, you got some ballads, just the songs are all well written. So I think that's why I scored it up high. And just by a little, just an 8.18. And my number 1 is going to be Diary of a Madman from 1981. And this one got a higher score, 8.43. So this one was a little higher. Just that that perfect lineup, Ozzy, Randy Rhoads, Bob Daisley, Lee Kerslake. That's really great. And one of my favorite songs ever, which would be Diary of a Madman, the title track. I think that's like one of his top songs out of like his entire discography. But it's just like really, like every song is good. Over the Mountain, that's just a great metal song. Flying High Again, great metal. You Can't Kill Rock and Roll, just a very fun, uplifting song. Believer, that one's great. Little Dolls. I think tracks 6 and 7 might be like the weakest ones, but just by a little. Tonight and Sato. Actually, Sato's pretty good. And the last song, Diary of a Madman. So 8 songs, 43 minutes. This is just like a near perfect album. So that's why I have it at number 1. And that is all. So let me know in the comments what you thought of my Ozzy Osbourne ranking. You can put yours down in the comments. And thanks for watching. Please remember, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. See you in the next one.